Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. If you like making money, subscribe to the channel. I talk a lot about undervalued investments. It's a financial education channel, so if that sounds enticing to you, subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up for the content. The content is energy companies. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to look at the companies that I own personally. So you get to see what I own. I have a lot of skin in the game. And I do have a lot of my investments in energy companies. If I were to pinpoint how much, I'd say maybe even 15, 20% of my entire net worth might be in energy companies at the moment. So I'm a very big bull on energy because I think inflation is going to come and is coming and has come. So I think the reflation trade is about here. We've got summer coming. I think demand's going to shoot higher. And I think the companies that, if you're on the channel, we're already in them and we're riding these up. So let's see how they're doing. Let's see what their performance is over the past year. I know my channel's only been open for maybe 6 months, but I've talked a lot about energy companies in that 6 months. So I'm going to take a year, look at these companies, see how they're performing, and I'll go over the companies that I own and what kind of where they're at and what they do. So let's jump in. I call this energy companies. So you guys can have a better look of what's in my portfolio as you guys ask a lot of questions about the companies that I own. So returns and companies, let's check out the 1-year returns of a lot of the companies in my portfolio. You can see the returns and the companies that I own. So I'm not going to hide anything. So what I'm doing is I'm showing you returns. I'm doing them 4 at a time, and I grouped them as best I could with some of the sectors. So this is energy. Energy is oil, natural gas. There's some energy service companies that I own, and uranium. So these are some of the better performing ones. I really got involved in this area where I was really starting to buy a lot of these. It was in the September-November timeframe. They got hit in March. They kind of pulled up, and then they pulled back. And this is where I loaded up, was in this area here. So we've got Callon Petroleum, Encore Energy, which is here. So Callon Petroleum is a highly leveraged oil company. Has lots of debt, what I mean by leverage. Usually when these companies fall and you have a lot of debt, they're a rocket ship to the upside if they don't go bankrupt. So a lot of the risk is at the bottom. And if you can time them somewhat decently, they go berserk when the price goes back up. So they are highly leveraged to the price of oil. And when oil is at a ratio, and it was at 50, 60 to 1 to gold, that's when you hit the full risk button, because it's the lowest risk to buy the most risk companies, if that makes sense. And if the charts look good, that's when you hit it. You hit the high risk button when everything is the lowest risk opportunity. So I bought Callon Petroleum, oil company, good leverage. Encore Energy is a uranium company. That's an American uranium company with Bill Sheriff, the CEO. A very solid company. SM Energy, another high debt company in oil. And Centennial Resources Development is another high debt company, more focused, I would say, on natural gas. And as you can see, the 1-year returns, these are the returns over 1 year. These have done exceptionally well because of that leverage and because of the reversal in the ratio of oil and the price of oil. Next, I've got more oil companies that I also own. Athabasca Oil Corporation, 300% up over the past year, the dark blue line, so that's done very well. Grand Tierra Energy, again, I bought most of these down here. So I'm actually up more than that in some of these, given some of these. I bought this one a little bit later, but Grand Tierra Energy, GTE. We've got Diamondback Energy, that's FANG. That it was QEP. QEP got bought out by Diamondback Energy, and I'm just holding on to it. And then Tellurian is this orange one. We bought that one as well on the channel. So this one's a LNG terminal play, liquefied natural gas terminal. FANG or Diamondback Energy is a oil play. Grand Tierra is oil, and Athabasca Oil Corp is oil. Going on to some other ones. We've got Contango Oil and Gas. That's John Goff, a billionaire, owns a very large stake in the company. He's back in this company. I think they could do pretty well over the long term. Reconnaissance Energy, they are going after a large find in, I think it's Africa. So that's the yellow line that's gone kind of berserk, but more recently sideways. Trillion Energy, I bought this one, I think like in here recent when someone was recommending it on the channel. And then I just put Impact Silver because I was one short, just to show you what the silver is company, which I own that as well. Southwestern Energy. So these are some of the natural gas ones that I own. Southwestern Energy is natural gas in America. Antero Resources, same thing. CNX Resources, another natural gas company. These are pretty large ones. And then Crew Energy, which is up in Canada. The more debt one has, and the more leverage it has, the more this thing's going to unwind to the upside. My opinion is that if you're going to buy a high debt company, buy it at the bottom right after it turns, and then hold on and spread it out amongst a bunch. That's been my approach. So those are some other companies. These are American ones, these first three. This one's Canadian. Now here is some other companies. This one is the energy service companies I hold. I only own 3 of them. I put in Trilogy Metals just as it's a copper company just to show one kind of random company. But Tetra Technologies, TTI, I bought this one. We've got Transocean, which is a driller company. And then I got DXP Enterprises, which is kind of like the Granger of oil. We've got some renewable energy in here. Vestas, which is a wind company. I think it's Danish. Siemens Gamesa, I think that one's Spanish. SunPower, American, and Canadian Solar is Canada. And these are the returns associated with these. So they're doing pretty well as well. Looks like SunPower's gone has done quite well. Now we're going into uranium here. These are uranium exploration companies in Canada, the Athabasca region. We've got Baseload, we've got Standard Uranium, Sky Harbor, and PurePoint. I've been buying Standard Uranium more recently. I've been buying PurePoint in this area here. And then I bought a lot of Baseload. That one was a ways back, I think right in here. I bought Baseload, I think, September, October. And then I bought Sky Harbor kind of in here as well. So I've been cost averaging into Standard Uranium and PurePoint at the moment. Global Atomic. So these are the African companies, the African uranium companies that I own. I was big buyer in the September, November timeframe, like all through here. Global Atomic, Bannerman Resources, Deep Yellow Limited, and Goviax. Global Atomic they're working on developing a mine, which I think will go into production probably the next year or two. Bannerman's waiting for the price to go up, but they have a very large project, Etango project that Brandon Monroe has. Deep Yellow is John Borshoff, the ex-Paladin Energy last run-up. So these guys are put together the company, and they're putting together and developing some mines in Africa, Namibia. And then Goviax Uranium's another one that's putting together some mines and doing some exploration in Africa. Here is the more, these are larger, a little bit larger companies than some of the ones I just showed. They are all in Canada in the Athabasca region. We've got Next Gen Energy and Fission Uranium. Their mines are their deposits are very close to each other. And I think they're easier to mine than the stuff that's in the sandstone. So these two, I own all these. I own everything in this presentation. Denison Mines, and then I don't own Camco Corp. I use this one as a filler for this. That's the only one I don't own. But you can see the performance here quite well. Again, I was a buyer in this area in here, kind of when they dipped down October, November timeframe. Here is the American uranium companies. We've got Uranium Energy Corporation. We've got UR Energy, Laramide, and Encore Energy I shown again to fill in a gap. And these are the performances here. The one that I like out of this has been the laggard Laramide. Laramide is probably the one that I'd more than likely put money into just because it's lagging a little bit. And then I've got a mixture of a couple of random ones that I own. Birchcliff Energy and Advantage Oil. I own both of these in the portfolio. I own Open Door Technologies to have a filler. That is a electronic buyer of real estate. And then Blue Sky Uranium, I own that one as well. It didn't really fit in with the Canadian and African explorers since they're in South America. But I own that one, and I got in, I think it was somewhere around here, as someone had recommended it. So those are the ones that I own. I just wanted to show you guys, not necessarily what they were up, but all the companies that I own, and I showed it in a way that you can see the returns over the past year. Just because something's up a lot doesn't mean that I would be buying it. More than likely, I am buying the laggards in my portfolio and adding into those more so than the ones that are the leaders over the past year. So companies like Laramide, some of those Pure Point Uranium, the other Canadian explorers. I'm trying to look and find Canadian explorers that are outside of the sandstone area and starting to cost average in and build bigger and bigger positions in them. As I think uranium is going to be needed, very much needed, going into the future, that will support all of these, we'll call it carbon reduction. Whether I agree or disagree, it doesn't matter. If they decide to go this direction, I think uranium is the best energy source, bar none, for baseload power, period. So given that, and given that I don't think they can increase the intermittent energy sources as much as they think they can, I think they're going to have to go nuclear. And that's why I'm loading up on nuclear, which is basically uranium companies, to provide. I'm taking a bet that they're going to have to use uranium. That's what my guess is. If you guys like this content, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And thank you for listening. This is Finding Value.